Hey yo everybody, welcome to the Amalgam Games Lab. I'm your host Shannon Haegler alongside Keena Johnson.
It's me!
Yeah, it is. And we are probably still echoey.
Yeah, we definitely are.
Definitely echoey, but we will get there eventually. But this is the show where we talk about the games industry, games at large, gaming news.
Oh shit, I thought I saw a giant spider.
Oh.
It was just the little tag off the door.
Oh, good.
That was terrifying, folks.
Yeah, there's a certain amount.
Because in Australia, we have spiders that actually kill us.
Yeah, that's bad.
One day I'll look over and I'll think it was a snake and I will freak out. No, honestly, when I was first getting shit out of here, my housemate has a booster seat. So I took it out, it was fine. Went to bring it back in, and a blue tongue already nested in it.
Oh, great.
And I was just like, what the fuck are you doing there, mate? It was 20 minutes. He's like, nah, run away. So that could happen anytime.
Good. Well, hopefully we aren't too echoey and it should be okay for you guys to hear.
Yeah, you should definitely hear us, but it will be annoying.
Yeah, maybe. Possibly.
Or unless you like echo. And in that case, Wellington Caves in New South Wales is probably the place for you.
Yeah, well, this one's for you. Make sure to check out the Amalgam Show later on. Well, actually, no Amalgam Show this week. But check out last week's episode.
Everyone's dead.
Check out last week's episode, where we are echoey again, but it's the first in this new quote-unquote studio.
Studio, quote-unquote. Dedicated space.
Dedicated space, that's a good word for it. But you can support our Patreon for $1 a month. You can check out the Amalgam Archaeology series where we dive into Final Fantasy. We're not going to get another one done this week, possibly next week.
Yes. Is it weird that I forgot that we were up to Final Fantasy 7, which we're not because we need to do 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, I mean, I need to chat to you about that anyway.
Yep.
If you have any questions, comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a Games Lab.
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah,
3.
I think
this is the third week.
Really?
I want to say.
I thought it was 2.
YouTube Studio, here we go.
Oh boy. Either way, there's been some stuff that's happened.
Oh, quite a lot. Do we want to go chronologically or the
no,
order I've got out?
Chronologically doesn't make any sense because we just let's start at the big ones. Let's go to the big stuff. I actually think before we get to this,
they're the prequel to it.
No, not the prequel. I think the biggest thing to talk about, and the thing that probably we should start talking about, sort of at the top, and possibly even name the episode, see if we get some clicky clicks. PlayStation backflip on the Fortnight crossplay.
That
is a thing.
It's monumental for PlayStation because they talked it's been policy. That's really the only reason they haven't done it. It wasn't because of ethics. It wasn't because it was kind of money. But the money thing never made sense to me when other commentators would talk about it because they'd be like, but they can get money from Nintendo or Xbox. I'm like, well, Apple's getting a cut because you could still everything was still cross-play and cross-progression except for Nintendo and Xbox. But you could do it to Apple. You could do it on the PC version. It was all fine. They didn't care then. It was just these 2 particular companies, and now
they stop. Everything I can see, this test is actually just for the Switch.
No, it's Xbox as well.
They turning on in beta form or something like that.
In the official press release, they listed Nintendo Switch and Xbox One.
They actually said the words Xbox One.
Yes, that was the thing I'm scanning for. I'm they said Nintendo Switch, they said Xbox One. They acknowledge their existence as an official it's a weird it could be this almost what's the word bit of text in history is this the first time they've actually mentioned competition by name I don't know I don't have the full 25 years of PlayStation history. I don't know if they've ever said the Sega Saturn. They probably never needed to say the Sega Saturn because it died immediately. But it's interesting.
It is interesting because that's actually a really good question. Have they ever released a press release of any description that
recognizes
the actual name of the competitor? That's really.
Cause I'm pretty sure they've said Nintendo and Microsoft before because they do say work with Microsoft PC before their crossplay Street Fighter and stuff like that.
Right.
That could also work with Steam. They have mentioned competition,
but have the words 3DS ever been uttered on stage?
On stage, definitely not.
Released in a press release.
I don't think unless from Sony themselves, no. In joint and from a third party that's like, coming to PlayStation.
Yeah.
But
I'm more thinking from a Sony perspective. Did they ever go back? Did they
Vita competition.
Did they ever say Nintendo 64? Did they ever say because Sony's like one of those big old timey companies.
They're Japanese as well, so it's like this interesting thing. We're getting the wrong bit out of this.
So there was a question I wanted to ask you in terms of this move. What do you think? Is this the right move?
Is it the right move?
And I want you to, from both angles, is it the right move for players, and is it the right move for the company?
It is the future, regardless. It is. Microsoft and Nintendo have been doing this for quite a while. With Fortnight and a couple of other games, Microsoft has been doing crossplay with Minecraft for everything except for PlayStation, because that's a PlayStation thing. Rocket League forever has been. We literally need to flick a switch. Like that's all it is. All we need is press Control B or something. Like that's all they need to do, and then that's like it. So people have been wanting crossplay forever, and like there's a history that like people have never clamoured for it. It's never been like online petitions or anything like that. It's always been talking to your mates. Oh, it would be great if we didn't have to buy the same fucking console to talk to each other. It would be great if for all these things probably since the fucking Atari, since multiplayer online, so since Xbox.
Well, I had a conversation with one of my friends at work just the other day about how he got rid of his Switch.
No, interesting.
And it's partly because a month ago he had a kid, so like his life has changed in a way that he's like, I don't need all these consoles.
Sorry, I thought it was louder than I thought it was going to be.
He didn't do all his consoles. He wasn't purchasing stuff on Switch regularly, so he felt like that was the one to kind of let go.
Yep.
And he wasn't like interested in any of the releases for Switch. But he was also saying to me like, I think I need to get rid of one of the consoles. But he said it was really difficult because he loves the PlayStation for things like God of War and Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. But all of his mates play multiplayer games on Xbox. So if he was to get rid of the Xbox to play his PlayStation, he would literally never have any online games ever. The other way around is he would never have any single-player games, and he couldn't play his online multiplayer.
Yeah.
If he had crossplay, he wouldn't have to worry about that.
Exactly. There's a weird conspiracy theory that I heard written into Kind of Funny Games Daily today, and it was, instead of the usual month exclusivity for DLC content, it's only a week. Do you think that that's going to be it's because Activision's going to let crossplay on Call of Duty Black Ops 4? And then they put down the letter and then laughed. They're like, no, that's not what that means. Like, it's crazy. Activision is not going to be the one to push this. Activision is like the most non-controversial. They're like, we're just going to we'll play by everyone's rules, but we'll also push our rules. Like they're agreeable.
They have the most Switzerland of all. They just
Switzerland.
It's like, you guys do get out. We're just making games. Like, you guys do whatever you say goes. We don't care.
Yeah.
But the reason I ask, is it good for the player, good for the company, is because I think it's absolutely 100%. It's the perfect thing for the players. We should be able to do this. This is a thing it's the natural progression of multiplayer. First, it was only PC based because that's the only thing that could connect to the internet, unless you were doing couch co-op or local multiplayer, and then the local multiplayer expands onto multiple networks. Now it's like, okay, cool, you can play all your Xbox games together, all your PlayStation games, and the natural progression of that is just like everyone plays everything.
Yep.
The entire community connected. I am torn as to whether I think this is the right move for Sony.
For Sony, yeah. I think that's why Sony took since E3 to figure this shit out.
It's not just about that though, whether or not they were figuring it out, that's totally different. My actual concern here is they spend so long saying no, and they just flipped on a dime out of nowhere too, because people want to
Out of nowhere for us, I do feel it's been in conversation since E3. Like when it was brought up, I think they've been stressing over it, looking over their financial, they've been crunching numbers, they've been doing everything, they've been having ethics meetings, blah 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 blah. For us, out of nowhere, because
The thing that I'm looking at is the framing that Sony put this in is that every time they're asked about it, it's always been, that's not something we're looking into. Because PlayStation is the best place to play, and 80 million units, and blah, 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 blah. All that PR speak to get around to the eventual answer, which was always no. My question here is that, like, if they've been thinking about it all that time, why not just say you're thinking about it? Or you're looking into it? They haven't done that. They've said no.
Yeah, that's
true. Just yes. Now, so my thing is, like, how will people view this? People view this as Sony. I think that the answer's already been made. By my thoughts, will people look at this as Sony being benevolent?
Progressive.
Yeah. Or will it look like, I think this is where it is at. It looks like Sony's caving. Like, just Sony tapped out.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, fine, if you really want to, we'll do it. And that is a problem, because that to me is like, well, what does this say about the next generation? What does it say about Sony's mentality going into that? What does it say about their marketing team, their higher-ups? Like, what does this now mean if they were so willing to hold to their guns and be like, no, that they can just seemingly, I guess, like you said, they may have been talking about it all this time from E3.
Yeah, but that wasn't showing up in their PR.
Exactly, perception is reality, and as far as we can see from the outside looking in, it just happened.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. Like,
yeah. What
other decisions could they just turn up and switch around on?
Nintendo, PS Now is now a downloadable service.
Yeah, like what the hell?
Like they spent $4 billion on Gaikai to make that an awesome streaming service that never turned out because the infrastructure in the world for internet is just not up to that.
Yeah.
So now it's a Games Pass competitor rather than a Ouya. What was that other crazy streaming console that was at the end of
Roku? No.
Roku is a thing, and it's surprisingly still a thing. Everyone's like, it's an app on Roku. I forget, but there was a streaming console, probably the Nvidia Shield or something. One of those late PS3 sub consoles that came out. But anyway, what were they saying? Yeah, so that is one thing that they just like that.
And like that makes me sit there and go, okay, I know the answers to a lot of these questions, but there are so many things now that I'm looking at and going, are you bullshitting us? Is PlayStation 3 backwards compatibility not that difficult? Could you just flip a switch and it would work? Or are you just saying no because you know you make more money off the selling of the remasters?
I feel that's a yes to both.
Yeah. But like the thing is, like, absolutely, like I understand. Like, again, I'm not a programmer or a game designer. I have no actual idea of what that actually is. But I understand that apparently the architecture and the cell processing system of the PS3 just makes it more difficult.
Yeah.
And in some cases, impossible or damn near it to actually re-render those things on a general x86 architecture.
Yeah.
Now, that I understand, but then there's this part of me that goes, well, Sony's been saying they couldn't do crossplay, and they couldn't do the downloading and all this other stuff that they couldn't do. Is that just another notch on the list of things you couldn't do, but actually if you tried hard enough you could?
Some things, yes. I feel maybe PS3 backwards compatibility is one of those things where it's tricky. It's a lot of resources that may not necessarily pay off, but it's a very consumer-friendly thing, i.e. what Microsoft did with backwards compatibility for the Xbox.
Yes, because they had to build an emulator into the goddamn system to make it work.
I think for changing your name, that has literally been... It is a technical nightmare. They did not build it, and they fucked up. And like, I watched the video the other day of Sean Layden saying to Greg Miller at PSX of last year, saying, when Greg asked, when are we going to see a PSN name change? Sean Layden's like, we are working on, hopefully this time next year you will not be asking me that question. PSX is not happening. Like, there is no date announced, and it's been the latest it's ever been before they announce a date. So who the fuck knows what's happening there? They just like, PSX either happens with name changes or not.
Or it doesn't happen at all.
Yeah, and I think like that's one thing I do think they have a team working their fucking asses off to make sure this works. And every time they do it, they must just crash the entire network or something for whatever reason, because of Sony's stupid architecture. Because it's built on stupid. Yeah, PS3 hinders way more than it ever has.
It's so bizarre. And the funny thing is, like, when it comes to the name change stuff, I know a lot of people who will change their names. I probably will change my PSN name, but not much. I think I just want to get rid of the numbers from my PSN and change them to like my birthday or something, my birth year, like most people do, because I just don't want to have those numbers on it.
Yeah. I'm in a similar thing. Like my account was initially a joint account with me and my brother, so we chose a diplomatically middle name.
Yeah.
Now my brother's not on my account; he has his own with the username he wants. I want to change it to my normal username, and I can't.
Yeah.
I'm fine with what I've got. But I think the way they got around it at the start of the generation, like, oh, you can have your real name on there, which was whatever. That's interesting. You can put your real name as your normal username.
Yeah, but I don't want my real name out there.
Yeah, that's fine. Like that's fine. That's why they've got all these privacy settings as well. I think as a stopgap, that's fine.
Yeah, but like
It's actually literally to change it. That's a fucking nightmare.
I like my PSN tag. Like I said, I just want to change the numbers on it.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
If I can do that, then I will. What I will probably do is if I can change my PlayStation gamer tag to one that I like, I will probably try and change my Xbox gamer tag to the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's the same across both
Yeah.
platforms. Or if they give me the ability, I'll spend time on the Xbox platform because that one's got more frequent name changes, less names are available on that system. I will search the archives to find one that will fit, that's close enough to my PSN one, and then change it and check the other one.
Yeah.
You know, like try and get it unified across all platforms,
Yeah.
which would be nice because I've never had that because I always.
Because young people are dumb.
No, it's just because like when I first got my Xbox, it didn't know how long I would have it for, whether I would bother playing it. So I just used a burner account,
Fair enough. But
which I still use.
Yeah.
I just don't have any connection to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
But if I can change the name on it to at least be the same, then at least I'm unified across all systems.
Yeah.
Because I'd like for it so that if people were to play a game with me online, that they would actually
Know who it is.
know who it is across both systems. Because
Yeah.
I have friends on both, and so I need to know what's going on. Like having me as Shaggy in the Xbox, but having me as homies on the
PlayStation.
can be a little bit confusing.
Yeah.
So like, I hope that happens. But yeah, I thought that was a little interesting thought experiment for myself of like, cool, you guys just flipped on this.
Yeah.
What else are you holding back? But yeah, so that's sort of the biggest story of I guess the last day or two.
Yeah, I think what this means is that the next game is going to be Rocket League. The next game, it'll slowly Minecraft. That'd be an interesting one because that is a Microsoft property. We will see. I think people are talking about like Warcraft. No, Warfield.
Warhammer.
Warmind. Nope.
Warhammer.
No. Free-to-play game.
Warframe.
Warframe. Too many fucking walls. They literally came out with a game called Warface.
I saw
It's
that.
by Crytek. Right? I clicked on it and it's got Crytek. And I'm like, what the fuck? Because looking at it like Warface, and then you think of that movie like Show Me Your Warface. Like that's all I think about when I hear that. Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, jeez.
And that's all I think about. I'm like, oh no, Crytek just made, and it looks shit.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
It's a game called Warface. What did you expect?
Crisis was good. Crisis was creepy.
Crisis is a cool name.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But like,
Warface is not.
but Crisis is also a very generic name.
Warface sounds like the kind of game that would sit on like the echelon of like right to hell retribution.
Yeah.
Like that's that kind of game.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to sad news.
Do we want the prequel or just go straight into it?
What do you mean by the prequel? You talking about like the Capcom
Yeah.
Vancouver stuff? Yeah, Capcom Vancouver got shuttered.
I think it's a good prepper because Canadian rules are a decent publisher. Well, a good publisher now. Capcom's good again.
Yeah.
They got their studio laid off. Bunches to like the games got cancelled. People are out there. It sucked, but people got paid severance. People got paid. They have healthcare. They have like whatever. what are they called? Severance packages you get after being fired. Awesome, that's good.
The Capcom stuff...
It sucks that people lost their job, but...
Yeah, the Capcom stuff is also weird as well, because there was a lot of estimates being thrown around saying that, like, it must have been a tough decision for Capcom, because apparently that studio was working on several projects, and the estimated loss for closing that studio was going to be $40 million.
Okay.
Just for closing it. So I guess keeping it open must have costed them more, but they're still, like, for closing that studio down is kicking them in the pants for $40 million.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that must not have been an easy one. Something must have happened somewhere. I'm not sure. Capcom's a weird company.
The last Dead Rising game came out to no fanfare, so I wouldn't be surprised if it sold not well, like less than 1 million copies, and then that's the reason. They did not have a game that could fund itself.
Yeah. Or whether or not, like, some of the projects they were working on just weren't coming together.
Yeah, that's also something like that. Yeah.
Like, there's several reasons as to why a studio closes, but yeah, and that's the thing, is that, like, it closed, but it's about as amicable as you can get.
Everyone seems... No one is tweeting fucking rage.
There's no twit storm. There's...
It's like, oh, this sucks. Jason Schreier's like, yep, it's fucked. He probably wrote something on it.
Yeah, probably. Well, the general sentiment from the Capcom one is that it sucks. Like, it's one of those, like, general...
it's a regular layoff that happened in this industry. It sucks.
It's a sad thing that's happened. It's unfortunate, but it's happened in the best way possible. And we hope everything gets better for those people. Telltale, on the other hand... Holy fucking shit.
What I wrote down on the notes is Telltale kills itself in a spectacular clusterfuck.
Yeah, man.
Which I feel I would put that on a blog and it would be clickbait, but apparently you can't swear, so cluster frick.
Yeah.
Or
just
cluster...
dot.
Yeah.
Because holy shit.
It's fucking weird. I woke up, Telltale kills itself, basically. I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like, Walking Dead's going through its final season. What's going to happen with that? I was looking forward to Wolf Among Us Season 2.
We've talked about it on this show, about, like, the stuff that Telltale's about to come out with.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, if you listen to it, I can't remember which one it is. I think it might have been one of the E3 episodes.
Yeah.
But
they came out with, like, a bunch of stuff, like Stranger Things was coming out. Yeah. Like, they're doing something weird with Netflix for Minecraft Season 2.
It was going to be playable.
Yeah, I'm like that.
You were going to be able to play Minecraft Story Mode on Netflix.
Batman might have gotten a season 3.
Which I think is still going ahead too.
We'll see. I think Netflix is going through a different avenue to make that happen, not necessarily through Telltale.
Because I think the skeleton crew that they're keeping on is doing that. That's what I heard, because none of them were staying on to finish The Walking Dead.
No, it seems like the only skeleton crew is to make sure that game gets published properly, and then to take it down.
Oh, Walking Dead.
Yeah, Walking Dead episode 2. Eggman is still published, but then they pulled the season pass down. You can't buy that.
What a fucking shit show.
And then I don't know what else. In the press release, I want to say it was like to support. Fuck, sorry. Just punched my mic all the way over. They want to support business things, like they're just there to sort business out. It's not game dev at all.
Yeah, it's just to get cross the T's, dot the I's.
Yeah.
Turn the lights off when you leave.
Well, probably don't even have the lights on, so you'd have to pay electricity bill. Everything's by lamp fire now.
It's a fucking sad story, because all the workers, over 200, I think, the estimate's between 225 and 275, because the workforce was about 300.
Yeah.
And they kept a skeleton crew about 25.
Yeah, I know skeleton crew was 25.
Yeah, so somewhere between 225 and 275 employees laid off, no severance, healthcare lasts like till the end of the month.
Yeah.
It's
and the thing is that they got fired that morning. Like, they walked in that morning and it's like, hey, you're all fired. You have 30 minutes to collect all your shit
and get the fuck out.
Like, the things that you collected here for the last 4 years or whatever. Like, turns out people when they have offices put shit in their offices.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk? Yeah. And then because it's basically a second home.
Yes. Yeah.
So
especially for these people. So this is the part of the story that actually really pisses me off. So they get turned out. They get laid off. They leave. So there are a couple of things here that are really fucking atrocious. So, one is the fact that this came out of nowhere. Literally nowhere. Because there are people who started work
a week ago.
There were people who showed up for their first day on that Monday.
Yeah.
Who were suddenly told, oh no, you don't have a job.
People were getting press emails from PR, with saying, hey, we got the thing in December, like, you want to do the thing for, like, a spoiler cast for episode 4 of Walking Dead, etc., stuff like that. Everyone but management did not know.
Yes. Yeah.
That this was happening.
At some point, the CEO, board of directors, higher ups,
whatever that company structure is.
Whatever that is, they knew that this whole thing was untenable, and they did not tell anyone. And that is fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
Because A, that's just bad. That's being a bad human being. But B,
it's illegal.
It's illegal in America.
Yeah.
You have to,
and especially in California.
Yeah, because you have to give. It's like something within 60 days.
It's 60 days. You have to, yeah.
If you know that the lights in your house aren't going to, like, business terms, if you know that the lights aren't going to be on for much longer, you have to give your workers at least 60 days notice, saying that this whole thing's going underwater. You got 60 days to sort your shit out.
Yep.
And
which is a good policy. It's a good act to put in.
It's absolutely
60 days is a fuck ton of time to sort your shit out. Well, maybe not a fuck ton,
2 months.
But
it's the fucking minimum.
Yeah,
it's the minimum because you can't do much in 1 month. 2 months gives you time. I would say 3 is probably the best.
But
like give capitalism, capitalism, right? And this is the thing. Not only was there no like warning of this impending shitstorm. Then there's the other problem where we are getting the tweets and we are getting the blog posts and all of the stuff of like the working conditions in that place.
Crunch after crunch after crunch
50 to 70 hours a week and then crunching on top of that. The whole industry is just built on this, what a lot of people are now calling like the term crunch culture.
Yeah.
Where it is just like you are constantly working to the bone to get these things out. For a bunch of fucking, and this is the thing that I've been saying for since we started Games Lab about like how shitty gamers can be. Yeah. They are crunching their lives away for people who will look at your game and go, the puddle's not big enough.
Yeah.
Like fuck off. And then they work their asses off for this company. And I saw a tweet that was like, I worked 50 to 70 hours a week for that company and then crunch sometimes, and I still didn't get severance. Like, what is that?
Yeah. Poor management.
Like, it's not just poor management. I think it's
completely poor management.
I don't think it's just poor management. I think poor management is the reason this company closed on a day at random.
Yep.
I think the issue at large is the gaming industry in general. Because we hear these stories from other companies as well.
Not to this degree. Like, I think the constant crunch.
I think what I'm meaning is separate the closure from it. The constant crunch is very much in a lot of companies have that.
I know there's like crunch like to deadlines, like within internal deadlines. I know that, but it sounds like that these guys were on constant crunch because they were always releasing a new episode, which is not what every other company did. Like their deadline was so much more intense because they had to put so many episodes out in a year. There wasn't a quota, but just because of their project, they were like constant crunch. Like I don't think anyone got any rest for Walking Dead.
But the thing is, it depends on what you consider constant crunch. So like that guy was saying, the tweet, he's working 50 to 70 hours a week, and then there's crunch.
Yeah.
So there is, like what is, if 50 to 70 hours a week is your normal week, what the fuck is crunch?
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing is that a lot of game developers do work those long, ridiculous hours for years at a time, and then maybe they don't get a break after the game releases, because guess what? Every video game is a live video game now. So get back in that studio and fucking work on those patches.
Yeah.
They don't get a rest, they don't get a break. There's burnout all over the industry. The industry now has a high turnover rate, and way higher than it used to have.
Because games used to ship, and then the whole company would get a month off at the very least.
Yeah, if that. Sometimes it'd be like, all right, cool, let's go for like 6, we're done. Like, turn the lights out, we're taking a break.
Yeah.
But obviously there's also exceptions to that rule as well. Like when you're looking at Squaresoft, who used to release a Final Fantasy game and then immediately start working on the next one. But
they were still different teams. Like I know, like there would be some team members, but like you were switched around, and like I think that's a different culture because like I think corporate restructure is very different. Like because there's a job. Like you can do your job, which is arting or whatever, programming, and if you can do that like just sort of like as a job, that's fine. But if you have to crunch and stress about it, that's a different thing.
Because here's the thing that I wanted to also like talk about was that you had people on Twitter yelling at the devs who just got fucking fired that like, you need to finish my Walking Dead game.
Yeah.
If you loved it, you'd work for free. Like, fuck you, go to hell.
Yeah, fuck that. I think one of the things is that there's a disconnect. Like we keep talking about, gamers don't know how games are made.
No, you're right. Yes.
Yes. And because there's that disconnect, we don't get why. It's a shitty example, but it's why people think that the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League, like that movie never got a final cut. Zack Snyder never got to cut his version of that movie together. Because and then people are like, just release that cut. Like, no, that's not how movies are made. Mm-hmm. The movie wasn't finally cut, and like what they had, like, okay, we just got to reshoot this. New director came on board. That's how Justice League fucked.
Yes.
Still had fun with it, but but I think that there are people who are able to come out in pretty large numbers to say that's not how movies work. Gamers is such a big thing, where gamers are so active on the internet and social boards and stuff but not enough of them can say, oh, break down why. We just say that's not how games work.
Yeah.
Because there's not that transparency, and I think we're getting there.
We are getting there. And the unfortunate thing is that things like this are getting us there. Is that these devs coming out and just fucking like unloading and just being like, this is how it is, this is how it works, this is why I haven't seen my family in 3 years, this is why I don't know my kid's first name, this is why this shit is going wrong, and this is why our company fucking buckled, was because we couldn't keep up with the demand of all the shit we were doing, and the capitalist version of our company wanted us to keep making more shit, and I've got 70 hours a week I'm already doing, I can't do any more. And it's like, it's this thing of, we were looking at these episodic games, which seemed to be a good idea at the time, like when they first came out.
I think it's still a good idea.
I think it's a good concept. I don't think it works anymore. I don't. The overheads on video games are so large that the idea of selling part of your game first and then using that money to fund the development of the second part, I just don't think it's...
I think in an age of early access, being a very prevalent thing, I think that's the model to go with. I think
that's the model to go with, you're right, because the thing with early access is that you can keep developing on it and changing it and just claim it's early access. With the episodic model, the game needs to be, the game part needs to be finished and complete, and then you make the next bit.
It works for some people. It works for the people who made, I want to say, Broken Age. It's worked for the people who've done Life is Strange. It's because they focused on one game at a time. It worked for Telltale. But as soon as Walking Dead made them $1 million, like a super $1 million company, they had all these accolades, like, let's just copy paste this formula onto as many IPs as we can. And they had so many they had so many projects in the work and doing them simultaneously. They did not have the bandwidth to do that. They did not have the money to do that. Resources. It collapsed. It obviously collapsed. And everyone kept comparing it to The Walking Dead. It's just not a smart thing to do because, like, I think I stopped comparing everything to season 1 of Walking Dead because I'm like, okay, whatever. Batman was good. I like Batman. I did not enjoy the demo of Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are just things, like, I took them as games, not compared to that, but it just fell apart.
The thing I think that I would like to take away from this situation is for myself and other people to maybe ask more often now, what is the cost of your game? Ooh, like that. That's going to sound horrible.
It is.
That's going to be so bad.
It is. Asking questions.
Yeah, like what does it... Like, you look at one episode of The Walking Dead. What is that? And I'm not talking about money here. Like, what does that cost to make? How many man hours did that take? And I think that's what people need to start thinking about. Is like, what What is your entertainment cost? Because we are about to go towards, because I think one of the things that's kind of been swirling around in my head lately as well is like, off the back of this, is how much of a hard-on the gaming industry has for Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes.
There have been many an accusation at Rockstar of their working conditions being fucking atrocious.
Okay.
Of their culture being, there being sort of these situations of like, I don't know the specifics off the top of my head, but situations where like a person had finished their work, there's nothing else for them to do on the game, as far as it's considered the part of their job is done until X, Y, or Z happens.
Yeah.
So there's no reason for them to be at the office until 7 o'clock at night, or till midnight.
But they're expected to be there still?
Yes, because the rest of the team's still working, so why aren't you? And that's a real problem.
That's what's hard about team culture, like, especially for a company as large as Red Dead, because these, like, Red Dead, Rockstar no longer works. Like, oh, there's Rockstar North, there's Rockstar San Diego. It's all of Rockstar working on these games now, which is interesting.
It's a lot. It's a ship like the Titanic. It's going to be hard to steer.
Yeah.
And like there has been accusations of Rockstar being very fucked up in their workplace.
Yeah.
And with a game which seems as incredible as Red Dead Redemption 2 will be,
the testicle on the horses shrink when it gets cold. Like, that is impressive. Like, holy fuck, which 5 artists and programmers had to do that for 4 months straight?
Exactly. And
like,
how many hours of their life were dedicated to that?
Yeah.
And were they doing 70-hour weeks doing that? And that's the thing that frustrates me, is that like people are so like, oh, I want my game to look the best it's ever been, and you're like, okay, is your shrinking horse testicles worth another person's family life?
I think this leads to a thing of the unions, which during GDC at the start of the year, Jason Schreier and a couple of other devs, he's not a dev, but we're talking about unionizing.
Yeah.
Just the concept of like, what does it mean? How do we bring it in? Because layoffs are shit. Telltale, like, if there was a union, they could, like, the way Hollywood works is once you're finished on a project, they move you to a new project.
Yeah.
Like, that's an interesting thing, but Hollywood is so unionized that, like, if you need to move this piece of wire, the wire mover has to come and do it. And if you do it, that can be a bunch of fucking paperwork. Yeah. And that's a con, but there's not mass layoffs in Hollywood.
Exactly.
Which is a good thing. People have been talking about it. This Telltale thing, people are thinking of it as a catalyst of actually things moving forward, because we've had the voice actors strike a couple of years ago at this point, and now there's the voice actors union. I don't think it's super prevalent. Maybe it is. I'm not in the voice actors world, but it's a thing now. Yay. Video game, like the developers, I think will move to that, and then that thing's like, they'll put limits on. That means, and then you have to pay them extra bonuses. Like, it's this big union costs more, and in America, everything is about make everything the cheapest thing possible, pay everyone the lowest thing possible. And I think video games have lasted way too long on that concept.
I agree, because that's the issue, is that like it's always about like, oh, these things need to make as much profit as possible, and my immediate instinct is always thinking like, yeah, but what if we didn't? What if we just everyone got paid well, and the company didn't matter if they made $1 billion or $2 billion?
It's why we don't have video game companies in Australia, because we actually want to pay our people well. But then again, alternatively, Canada is super fucking popular, and they pay their people well. Like, they people probably work just as much as Americans, but Canada is a gold mine of like Vancouver, the Capcom Vancouver people. They're going to find a job. It's competitive, but they've got Dead Rising games. They're going to work at Ubisoft probably,
and Montreal, and then
Square Enix.
And you've got other things like that. Other places in the world, like especially in Europe, where you've got like Gunfire Games, who's doing the Dark Sides of THQ Nordic and all that kind of stuff. Like their places, they have to pay their people. They've got like universal basic income in some of those places where like it doesn't like. it doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, it's almost not being as competitive if you don't pay your workers well.
Yeah.
Because there's a part of every American game developer which I would hope that they would think like, man, if I move to Switzerland,
if I move to Canada,
if I move to anywhere else in the fucking world, I get a guaranteed basic income. I have all the skills I need to go and work on a different game. The only thing that keeps a lot of game developers where they are is the passion for the individual developer they are working for.
Yeah. And those Americans do make really good games. Like, they are on the level of Japan.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Whatever your opinion of Japan is, whatever. Everyone's equal. Europeans are making great games. Like The Witcher.
Yes.
I don't know what Norwegian. No, that's not right. I forget where they're based in.
Polish.
Poland. Yeah. Yes. I don't know what Polish workhorses are, but I haven't heard too many complaints out of it. CG Projekt. I know they fucking work their asses off.
Yes, they do.
But Poland, notorious for one of the Scandinavian countries that lets you have 100 gigabit internet and healthcare.
Yeah, healthcare. But that's the thing as well, is that it's a more broader conversation for America to have as well, because it also touches on things like I said, these people's healthcare ends in September.
Yeah.
They just fucking have nothing after that.
That's the thing. This is a systemic issue. That's not necessarily gaming. It's to America's capitalistic system, which, in my opinion, is deteriorating. But that's a different concept.
Yeah.
We should have called this games and politics.
Well, the thing is, the issue is more systemic to America, yes. Yeah. But I think in terms of the game side, A, think more about what you're buying and what it's costing the world and people. Yeah. And B, stop being a dick. If a company closes and gets laid off, you don't get to demand they work for free to finish your game. You have no... I want to do a whole episode on this. You have no ownership over that game. Just because you bought it doesn't mean you have no ownership over the people that made it.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I want to get at.
Which, in a traditional buying scheme, yes. In a Kickstarter situation, I think that's a very different. That's a very different conversation. I'm just bringing it up just to show my cards, sort of thing. Show everyone the cards. I would agree with you in that situation. Yes.
But the thing is, for the vast majority of the gaming industry, we are still not working in that system.
Yeah.
An item is like a piece of art is produced and created, and you purchase that piece of art and you consume it. You don't have ownership over it.
No.
You consume that art, but you don't own that art because that has been done by someone else, and you don't get to sit there and go, that shit.
Well, you can say that shit.
No,
that's criticism.
You can't go, that shit, change it. You don't get to tell them what to do. Yeah. You get to say, I don't like that.
You can say that's shit.
Yeah.
Perhaps for the next one, change it. There's criticism, but then there's no, you owe me that Spider-Man should swing 2 times as fast.
Exactly.
That's...
You don't.
No.
You don't. They don't owe you shit.
No.
They don't owe you the bigger puddles.
No.
They don't owe you the better graphics. What they owe you is to produce the piece of art that they wanted to produce. And if you don't like it, great. Go fuck yourself.
If you don't like a specific part of it,
cool. There's your opinion.
It's criticism versus
entitlement.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that we've talked about that,
Telltale. Hopefully, have you seen the pictures of there was a work fair of Insomniac, a bunch of other devs, and there were Telltale people going there, and they were looking to where to think, and people it's kind of it's a work fair, but my only real thing is when you go to when you go to school and they're these are the subjects you should pick in your senior year. You're okay, cool, but then this is your life depends on it because of income.
Yes.
That's the upside of this.
Yes.
Which is every time every game publisher developer gets laid off is that. The gaming industry is hey, here are our job ads, here's what we've got. Blizzard, Rockstar, Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog have been here's fuck ton of people hiring.
I saw the specific one from Ubisoft where they were hey, we're at this place on this date, come chat. Because we've got shit, we've got positions open. Yeah. And it's okay, cool. It is great that the industry as at large is close enough and respectful enough and good enough to have that kind of stuff bounced off the back of this, but also it shouldn't be necessary. So But speaking of capitalist craziness, the PlayStation Classic, that happened.
Yeah, it's announced.
It's super weird.
Why do you find it weird? Why do you find it weird?
I find it weird because it's a thing. I find it weird because Sony very rarely copies people. Like, they very rarely just blatantly do the same thing the other thing is doing. They will usually...
blatantly? Maybe. They do copy.
They do copy. But everything's a copy of everything.
From that perspective, yes, but also they do, like, sometimes straight up copy.
But the thing is, they tend to put their own spin on it. This thing is called the PlayStation Classic.
To be fair, they can't use PlayStation Minis because those are the little PSP titles that came out. Do you remember them?
Yes.
Classic, they already have that line of, like, they've got the PlayStation Classics, like you can buy them on PS3 and Vita. Yeah. What else would you call it? Like, the naming convention makes sense.
I know, but like it's Sony. Like, they can come up with a different one. I'm sure that they've got a warehouse full of fucking PR people just churning out names, Vita, VR, Morpheus, like, just keep going, just keep giving us
Speaking
names.
of warehouse, did you listen to Bombcast this week?
Yeah.
How they think this is made from, like, all the PlayStation TVs.
Yes, yeah.
I'm like, I would not fucking put it past them.
Yeah. Or the leftover Vita parts they have sitting in a warehouse.
Because the Vita also closed production in Japan, which means that's pretty much dead everywhere now. But yeah, this is like, we've got all this fucking shit. The classics are doing well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just leftover tech.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's weird because Sony very rarely does anything blatantly like this, where it's just like, this is straight up exactly the same thing that Nintendo did. No bones about it.
Yeah. I think probably the only thing that is, like, it's ahead of the 64 Classic. So it's in that generation. It's, but then also, we don't know if we're getting 64 or even a Game Boy Classic this year.
See, I don't think we're getting a Game Boy Classic. I don't think
that's been rumoured, like, just as much as the 64. But
really, I don't think that's a thing. I don't think that would be a thing. Because, like, the thing with the
Game Boy is, like, there's too many licensed games, but
but not only that, but it's a game. Like, the whole point of the classics is that one of the novelties is it's smaller. It's like, but like, you want a smaller portable gaming system? Like, we just got through the generation of, like, 3DS XL.
Yeah.
Where, like, the bigger screen is better. Like, what are you doing? Also, most of those games playable on a 3DS at this point. Yeah. Most of the ones you want to play.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, like, well, that's the same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo put out the NES Classic while the Virtual Console was a thing. Yes, the Wii U still exists. And then now they've got the NES games online. Like, there are so many ways to get an NES game.
The thing with the NES Classic and the SNES Classic is that, and it's the same with the PlayStation, it is designed to hit those people who don't own consoles anymore. It is specifically designed for
collectors.
Yeah, collectors, but it's specifically designed to capture the imagination of those people who went, you know what, I used to have a PlayStation, I really enjoyed it when I was a kid, and they'll pick up one of those.
It's interesting.
Just to play those games.
Yeah, for 10 minutes and fuck off.
But there's also the weird thing where I think it's a fucking travesty. It's not the DualShock.
It's not the DualShock. It's not even the analog. Yeah. What was the one before DualShock? It was called Dual Analog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say that? I'm sorry. It doesn't sound like a right name because
because
it was
the classic controller, then it's the Dual Analog, then the DualShock, which is the bundle.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's not the DualShock. It's not the Dual Analog. It's just the old D-pad.
Which means you don't get games like Ape Escape. You can't play Crash 2 and 3 correctly. You can't play Metal Gear correctly.
Nope.
It's going to be a good D-pad for Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but we don't even know if we're getting that because they only announced 4 games, that's 5 games, which is weird because Nintendo's like, here's a fucking whole list, plus Star Fox 2, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, the thing that I think is that it's licensing. They have to wait a little bit longer because of licensing.
And then they also get the benefit of continued press cycle. Like, here's the next lot of 5 games that we've sorted out. And like, oh yeah, that's right, PlayStation Classic. Oh, it's $150 in Australia.
It's a lot.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's $99 starting in America, which is $99 is how much the Nintendo is here. Which I'm like, when I saw $99, I'm like, okay, that's how much I pay, like $20 extra for the Super Nintendo. Then I realized it was American when I saw it on JB. I'm like, that's $150 or something. It's ridiculous expensive here. I'm like, that's not an impulse buy.
No, you gonna get one?
If it's the games I want, like Final Fantasy VII, don't need it.
Which I'll get on my Switch, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, I've got it on my PSP, which is the best Final Fantasy machine until the Switch, which we'll talk about later. None of those other games interest me.
Yeah.
The only games, like Metal Gear, I've got on my PS3, Metal Gear Solid 1, but
Yeah, I don't think I'll get this one either.
I can't think of like Spyro's getting remastered, Crash got remastered,
That's
Medieval's getting remastered,
yeah.
like all the classic games. Like the only ones that aren't remastered are fucking stuck in licensing issues like Tony Hawk games. Like I can't think of anything else.
Or they've been completely removed from the equation because you don't have the analog sticks.
Yeah, Ape Escape.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's weird. It's exactly the thing that the Nintendo did, but it's so Sony. Where they like did a thing but they half-assed it. You're like, come on, guys.
I don't know if they're half. It's weird because like this doesn't have like. PlayStation's a weird console because it's the best console for JRPGs. You can get whatever the fuck you want on that, from the Final Fantasy 9 to Tactics to that game that did come with it is coming with it. Wild Arms. Like there's so many cool JRPGs. Just Dragon Quest, a fuck ton of them. Vagrant Story, yeah. Wasn't that a PSP game or was that remastered to the PSP?
Might have been remastered.
Okay, Vagrant Story is okay. But there's so much, and they were all from Square basically. But and Enix before they fused. But because that's a cool console. But again, that's only 20 games. You don't want 28 JRPGs.
No.
But fuck it, if you did, that's fucking 2 times 100 is 200. 2,000 hours of content, which would be amazing. Yeah. But
I don't have time for that.
No,
that's the thing. Like we're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, and
I don't know what other games they could put on it. Like
we'll
Metal Gear in Castlevania should be on there.
Metal Gear is only possible if Konami could be fucked. Like
yeah, but Konami fucks. Like they give single fucks every now and then because Castlevania is getting a digital release along with Rondo of Blood, which was a Sega Saturn or a 3DO game or something weird. Yeah. And that's coming out. I'm like okay, and it got announced after the classic was announced.
It's so weird because like Rondo, up until recently, the only way to play that game is to download it through the Wii Virtual Console.
Oh yeah.
And then emulate it, like, because you use the Wii Virtual Console on a Wii U using the Wii Remote.
You can't even play it on the Wii?
No, because they killed its store.
Oh, okay, yeah. There is a PSP version, but it's not called Rondo of Blood. It's like a slightly remastered.
No, yeah, but this is the original.
Yeah, if you want to play the original Rondo of Blood.
That's the only way to do it.
Until this version comes out, which is, I think, is going to be faithful port.
Fucking weird.
But yeah, like I don't know what else you can do with the classic.
I don't know either. It comes with 2 controllers. It's a little mini PlayStation. The only part of me that makes me think like, oh, maybe I'll get it is because that's my nostalgia console. Of all the consoles there are, that's the one that's nostalgia for me.
It's hard because like
it's that and the 64.
Yeah, like it's hard for me because like nostalgia is hard for me to think because PlayStation I had like 4 games total really for it. Like being realistic, 10 games. Like and that's it, and they're all getting remastered. I had my Crash 3 is a nostalgia game. Spyro 2 and 3.
Yep. Crash, Spyro, I've got all the they're getting remastered, but the thing for me is that the reason I would maybe consider this is because the PlayStation is where I played the game that got me into video games. Yeah. Because of Final Fantasy VIII, because that game exists on that platform, it is the one that I will always look at it and go, oh. And same with the 64, because it had Donkey Kong 64 on it. Like PlayStation
is the only PlayStation I don't own. Like I don't like either the PS2 at home. There's 2 PS2s with my parents. I have my own PS3. That's a Slim. I have my own PS4. I have a PSP and a Vita. I do not have. We sold it in a garage sale. The original PlayStation. Yeah. And I couldn't tell you which one it was. Whether were they? Because I remember having both the flip top and the
one and the
X. Yeah.
The PlayStation.
It was the original 1X.
The PlayStation and the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
That's the ONE 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's a weird thing that's happening. And
it's doing the same thing that the NES, the Super Nintendo Classic did. 2 controllers, doesn't come with the USB adapter to power it.
Yeah.
Because one, I think, cutting down costs. 2, they think everyone has one. 3.
Which they do.
Yeah.
Everyone has a USB adapter.
I didn't realize what it was. I thought it was USB adapter to make your controllers connect to the thing. I'm like, but then I bought it. I'm like, oh, I've got fucking tons of these. What the fuck?
Yeah. Everyone's got one.
It was like $30 for no reason.
I wouldn't be surprised if this was made in the same factory as the NES and SNES stuff.
Sorry?
I wouldn't be surprised if this was made in the same factory as the NES and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, that's the reason.
It's using actual cables, though. Like, you're using USBs to plug it into the front instead of weird, whatever the fuck Nintendo uses. Wii U.
It's weird. It's
Yes. Yeah. Because those are lying around that they have. Thanks.
But speaking of remasters, let's get into the Nintendo Direct.
Fuck yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean, honestly, there's not much to say. There's a bunch of Final Fantasies coming to the Switch.
All of them. Except for the first 7 and 8.
Except for 6 and 8. Like, first 6 and 8. Because 7 is coming, 7, 9, 10 and 10, 2, 12.
12 Zodiac Age.
Yeah, specifically.
And then there's like Pocket Edition also came out. World Ends, like, I just like Square Master. What I wrote down is Square Enix is remastering everything except Final Fantasy 8. So yeah, 15 Pocket Edition came out.
So sad.
No, Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition HD.
Yes.
It includes more voice acting.
Ooh.
That's what it is. World Ends With You Final Remix, which I am looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
World of Final Fantasy Maxima, which seems like it's Game of the Year final mix sort of thing.
Yeah.
Which cool, give that game new life because it came out too close to Final Fantasy 15.
Yes.
It has new characters. I'm like, hopefully this game latches on this time.
Maybe.
Maybe they should have put
it. The thing is, they're doing the same problem. Is that like it's launching along like World of Final Fantasy comes out and we don't have release dates for the rest of the stuff, but I don't think anyone's going to buy World of Final Fantasy because they'll be waiting for the actual Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
I think they've done the same thing again, where it's just like, who cares?
Last Remnant Remastered's coming out, which that was weird because they pulled it all down from Steam and everything. Everyone's like, what the fuck? This is a weird game to pull, but and then it's like 2 weeks later, it's because it's being remastered. But like, I fucking guess.
Yeah.
At least you don't need to buy it on 6 discs this time.
Mm-hmm.
Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered. You don't need to use the link cable.
Yay.
Thanks, Nintendo Direct, man. Chocobo Mystery Dungeon, everybody, which I really like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So if it's just a Chocobo version of that,
great, why not?
cool. It's the Wii version being remastered and renamed. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're cool Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 7, 9, 10, 10, 2, and 12.
Why don't you think 8 is there?
2 reasons. One, the licensing on the soundtrack.
Okay, what
Eyes on Me, the main song,
thing?
is actually like a released, published song
Okay.
in Japan by another like music company, so they may not be able to get the licensing for that.
It's weird because it's on Steam. Well, the game is on Steam. I don't know if that song's in it
But
or
the
not.
thing is, they would be re-releasing this because it would be a remaster, like a redone.
This would be the Steam version, is what I mean.
Yeah,
because
I know.
like yes.
But the thing is, the licensing now would be because I don't know how touched up is the 8 version on Steam.
It's the same treatment as 7 and 9.
Okay, so it's just basically the menus get touched up.
Well, the menus, like the graphics are touched up, like those are prettier games.
Yeah.
They've got the boosts and all
When
that.
did that come out?
After 7, before 9 on Steam. Like it was contemporaneous to those games that happened. I
Yeah.
don't know the exact date, but for
It's
whatever reason, I don't
a while
know.
ago though, right?
Within the last 5 years, yes.
Because I'm thinking, because the only other thing I can think of, because like there's a Steam version of it, and like there's a licensing issue, which like the thing is, if they did the Steam version, that licensing may have ended after that happened.
And also,
And once that licensing, and because it's Japanese music licensing, so I don't know the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
But once the licenses for music tend to expire, the second that happens, everything after that becomes very difficult.
Yeah.
Everything before that, fine, keep it, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like I'll use my example that I always use that a lot of friends hate. It's my wrestling example. WWE had a license agreement with what's his face, Limp Bizkit.
Okay.
During 2001, and he did a lot of songs for them, a lot of entrance music and a lot of bits and pieces. They obviously released DVDs and all that kind of stuff during that time. Those DVDs and all that kind of stuff all have that original music in it. However, once that license ended, anything that they did with those clips after the license ended had to have the songs edited out. 100%. Same thing. If that license has ended for that particular song, and that song is literally all the way through that game, it is always there.
It's like the Final Fantasy 13 song? Like in terms of like it being throughout the whole game.
Yeah, it's essentially it's the song that Uematsu wrote for Renoa and Squall. It's their theme.
Yep.
So whenever they appear on screen together, it's basically playing.
Okay, that's quite a bit then.
Yeah, so it's most of the fucking game.
Yeah.
So if that license for that song is expired, that's very difficult. Like they are going to have to work around that to find a way to, because that song is part of the reason I love that game.
Mm-hmm.
Most people do, because the score in that game is fantastic.
Yep.
But without that song, what do you got?
Yeah, no.
The other thing is there are rumors saying that Square Enix lost the source code for Final Fantasy VIII.
If it's based on the Steam version, which is what these other games are, I don't see how that's possible. That should be like the newest thing. They should be in the top of their file. They should be able to like take the Steam code and then change it.
But maybe they didn't. Maybe they just did the work and then.
I don't see that happening in a modern day. Like,
but it's Square Enix.
It's Square, like but like
because like aren't they notorious for having like lost a bunch of their work from like the 80s and 90s because they just didn't keep source code?
Even in 2000, like Kingdom Hearts 1 HD, a lot of it had to be like replaced or they just took the code from the disc because a bunch of it was not there.
Yeah.
So that is a very interesting remaster because it's not like the rest of the games. It is a lot more in depth of a remaster.
Yeah, actually building it from the ground up.
It's not quite ground up, but it's interesting.
Yeah. The rumor is that like A, it's either the licensing for that song, or B, it's the fact
the licensing sounds really plausible.
Yeah.
It's just the Steam port that's mixing all this up.
Yeah, because that's the thing that a lot of people are saying though, is that the source code's just missing from it, and I don't know where that would be or what's happened or
probably some intern might have deleted the Steam
that's the
code
thing,
or something.
That, like, source code now as well is all digital, so like maybe a server got lost, maybe something went wrong, and Final Fantasy VIII may just be lost to time now.
Final Fantasy 15 DLC ate it or something.
Yeah, like something like that. I don't know what it might be, but yeah, that's the thing. And honestly, I'm okay with it.
Yeah?
Like, I would like Final Fantasy VIII remastered, especially on the Switch. I'd love to be able to play that game on the go.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to do that, but
with the PlayStation Vita,
you can fucking go to hell. No, the thing with Final Fantasy VIII though is that it is my sentimental favorite.
Yeah.
I know it's not by any stretch of the imagination the best game in the series.
Yeah.
But it is my sentimental favorite. I love that game so much. I'm happy it's not being beaten to death like 7.
Oh, 7's just...
Like
even 9's being hoarded out now.
Exactly.
Now the people now the Squares feel like, oh, people like 9 just because it didn't sell well doesn't mean people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they be like, oh, let's put 9 everywhere.
Like if 8 was getting the 7 treatment, I would probably be sick of 8. But I'm just sick of 7. I'm happy for that to be the way it is. Like I fucking clown.
For me, this is perfect. This was literally a dream list that I made because I have like a Zelda, like I want all the Zelda games to come over, and then I wanted all the Final Fantasy. Everything pre-7, I'm like, oh, that kind of sucks because but I don't need to play them. These games I have not played. So, and I was tossing up because like for ages I've been like testing remote play. I'm like, oh, could I remote play for my PS4? Because I really like the Switch. I love taking... Zelda was perfect to be able to take it off and run around and then put it back on, and then it was perfect. I loved that for a long form, and these games are very long form.
Yes.
I was testing my Vita, I'm like, oh, could I do it? Does the graphics? And my internet is too shit to do that. So when they announced this, I'm like, this is fucking perfect. I'm happy to wait a little bit. I'm going to play through 9, 10, 10, 2, 12...
Yeah,
this is great. This
is exactly what I want the Switch for. Is like get me some older games that I want to play, but don't have the time to sit down and play on a console, on a TV at home. But if I have them on my Switch, I can just take them with me.
Next year, it's just JRPGs for me. Between these games, Octopath,
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Sorry,
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, yeah. I just meant for my Switch. I always forget Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out. Kingdom Hearts 3, but even just for specifically my Switch, this game, Dragon Quest 11S for the Switch.
Oh, yeah.
I do want, that game looks fun. I do want to see what a modern Dragon Quest game is. Let's play it on the Switch. Perfect.
I have a lot of people at work who are playing that game currently on PS4, and they're fucking loving it.
Everything I've heard is that this is a brilliant JRPG. It's not revolutionizing. It is it's not revolutionary, but it is a JRPG game.
Yeah.
It does the job. And I love JRPGs. I want to get, and Dragon Quest is the secondary best. I think whatever your taste is Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. That's why those companies merged.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, and between that, no other games I'm going to be playing. Like,
yeah, the only thing that I really wanted from that announcement was that I wanted release dates. Like what we got was 2019.
2019,
so,
which, yeah.
Whatever. Also, I'd like to know whether or not these are all coming to digital, or whether they're going to be physical cartridges as well.
As well, I don't know. I think 7 and 9 are just going to be digital because they are based on the digital edition. 7 and 9 didn't get PS4 discs.
Yeah.
The rest, who knows?
Because that's a big, because 10 and 10.2 and 12, that would be big downloads.
Yeah.
You would hope that they could just, like, I would prefer to have them on physical rather than taking up storage space.
Yeah.
I would much prefer to just throw them in the top. Because the thing is, like, once one of those is in there, I'm not removing them until I finish.
Yeah.
So I got no problem with that. But 12 would be a great one to have on the go as well.
No, 12 is the one I'm looking forward to because you've been you've been talking to me about how much you like it. I'm like, okay, cool. I do not want to play this on my TV for hours, but I watched the trailer again because like through the Switch News app.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was just watching. I'm like, yeah, I can picture myself playing this.
Yeah. And especially like the way like the Zodiac Age version of that game is the best version of that game.
Obviously,
and absolutely with the speed increases and all the stuff you can do, like just the ability to keep thinking to myself, I'm like, pull it open on a commute, like catching a public transport, pull it up, I could grind a couple of levels out, and suddenly that's not grinding because I'm just playing it on my bus ride.
Yeah.
That's great. That's fantastic. That's what the Nintendo Switch should be for, and Nintendo is nailing it. This Direct was really good.
Oh yeah, as a director itself, it was great. Like, let's move on. Like, this was interesting. Did you ever play Revenant Wings?
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was fine.
It was fine because Virtuo support team that does a lot of these ports, they use like they put up a new banner on their social media, and it was key art from 12 Revenant Wings in particular, but it was still Vaughn. So either someone just got like the wrong key art, or maybe they're working on a Revenant Wing port as well. Because Revenant Wings is a DS game.
Yes.
Nintendo, that's easier to move up, but also I don't think anyone cares about Revenant Wings. So
I mean, it's for those who like the story and like the characters.
Yeah.
Revenant Wings is much better. Revenant Wings is better at giving you a story with Vaughn and Penello than 12 is.
I have heard that.
Yeah.
Is it a better story, or is it just better at telling that story?
No, it's
its story.
It's not a better story because I think the story in 12 is fan-fucking-tastic.
Yep.
It's just delivered incorrectly.
Yep.
But the best thing about Revenant Wings is that it's less about the story and it's just like, oh, Vaughn and Penello have character development in the game. Oh, what do you fucking know?
Yeah.
Whereas in 12 they don't, but they do.
Yeah.
We'll get into that one day. Nintendo Switch Online.
Sorry, I just wanted to say 13 Trilogy. Do you ever think that'll get ported? First, it needs to be collected. Do you think it'll ever come to the Switch, the 13 Trilogy?
If they do... God, that's a good question. My gut feeling is no.
No.
And not because of like, oh, they hate the 13 Trilogy. I think it's just too close to do a remaster. And I think by the time this... I mean like
just a normal, like a remaster, like... It's nothing too fancy. It's like a couple of quality of life things.
I think even then, like really? I just don't think I think it's too close to port across.
We have a God of War 3 remaster. We have another example that aren't coming to mind.
The thing is though, is that those games like God of War 3, Last of Us, all that kind of stuff, those games are beloved.
Oh yeah.
13 is not.
Yeah.
And I have my defenses for 13.
So do I. And 13.2 I think is a better game.
It is a much better game, and 13.3 is fine. It's fine.
I don't have a judgment on it, so...
It's fine. But I think it's too close to... I think it's too close
Do you think we need the same amount of space between 12 and Zodiac Age? Because 12 came out and everyone fucking hated it.
Basically.
But then like people are like, no, it is good. And then like Square's like, oh, people think it's good? Fucking fix it. Let's go. Let's fucking sell it.
Basically.
So we need to wait until 13. People are saying, 13 is good.
You basically need to have enough time for enough people to admit that 13 was all right.
Yeah.
And once that happens, they'll port it. But at this point, it's too close in two ways. One, it's too close since that game was made. But two, it's too close to the bone for Final Fantasy people. They just don't like that game.
Yeah.
The vast majority of Final Fantasy people, even people I know who love the entire series, just there's something about that game that it just rubs everyone the wrong way. I personally don't get it. I don't think it's the best game in the series by any stretch of the imagination. I think 13's fine.
I think people think it's too linear, which is weird,
Again,
because 10 is linear as fuck.
Exactly. Again, I have no problem.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah.
We'll get into it one day.
But yeah.
But I don't think we'll get up or... Again, prove me wrong, Square Enix, because if they did, I would play 13 in a heartbeat again. I would love to play that game again. It's just... It's
on the
so,
Switch? Yeah.
It's just so fucking long. Like, it moves at a brisk pace, and then in the last half, it just takes for fucking ever.
And there's a lot of grinding.
A lot of grinding, which, again, if I had a portable system and was able to play that game on a commute or something like that, the grinding suddenly doesn't become a grind.
Yeah.
So that's fine. So I don't think so.
Yeah.
My thought is only... here would be my full answer. It depends on how long the Switch's life cycle is.
What's your ETA of
At this point, with the way Nintendo's going, 5 years.
Yeah.
They do it every time.
Except for Wii U.
It's 5 years.
2012.
To 2017.
That's 5 years, you're right.
5 years before we get something completely bonkers and brand new out of Nintendo. They do it every time.
I just want to Switch 2, like, make it better. They fucking hit gold. They don't change it. Please, Nintendo.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, we've got new CEOs and new, like, there's a new president and new, like...
Oh, CEO. I thought you said 3DOs. I'm like, well, why are we talking about 3DOs?
No.
Sorry.
But yeah, like, Nintendo's corporate structure from top to
different.
bottom is new, it's younger, like, maybe they'll make some better decisions, but, you know, at the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and every single console's had a 5-year life cycle, and I've seen, at this point in time, even with the success of the Switch, I see no reason to have them stop that.
Yeah.
And if there's only 5 years to the end of the Switch, I don't see 13 getting ported to that, unless it's like one of the, like how we've got the 3DS kind of farting out now with a bunch of ports and stuff like that. That kind of thing, where they're like,
the PSP did that.
Yeah.
And Square did that with the PSP. When the PSP was dying, like, let's put all of our games onto it. Third Birthday, Kingdom Hearts, what came after that? Type 0.
Yeah.
Like, and they did, and yeah, those are all great games.
Weird. Anyway.
Speaking of Nintendo making good decisions, what do you think of the Nintendo Switch Online, which debuted last week?
It's a thing I haven't paid for.
Yeah.
And it continues to be a thing I haven't paid for.
I haven't paid for it either.
It's a thing I
have the app for the classic games.
Yeah.
Haven't gone into it, can't get into it. Like, you haven't paid for it. I'm like, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's an idea that, like, we're going to get the family plan where you pay like $3 if you max it out with 8 people.
Really, that's a risky move.
Why is that risky?
Because one of them is considered the primary account.
Yeah.
And whenever that is in place, there are certain restrictions on the rest of the accounts and what they can do.
I think, yeah,
I believe the restriction on the family account actually might be that if the primary account is playing a game online, the other accounts can't either.
What's the fucking point?
If it's the same game.
Oh, it's the same, yeah. I think, we'll look into it.
Yeah. I wouldn't... I mean, it's $20 a year.
Yeah, that's the thing. But, like, I was going to buy it myself eventually. Probably the game I'm waiting for, weirdly, is...
$30 a year, actually.
Oh, Australian. It is, yes. It is $30 a year. I think $30, like $20 a year I was on board with. But then as soon as I saw Australian prices, I'm like, oh...
I mean, 30's fine. I mean, considering that...
For me, not necessarily.
Yeah.
For a person with a good income, yeah.
Even for a person with, like, a halfway decent income, like, Xbox Live is $84 a year.
Oh, yeah.
PlayStation Plus is $70.
Yeah.
Like, this is at least half of that.
Yeah,
So,
and half the quality.
but again, it's a thing that I'm not going to pay money for because there's literally no reason for me to have it. Because the reason I would buy it would be to play online games, but all the games I think I want to play online, I just play LAN.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to be playing...
Yeah.
I'm going to be playing Mario Kart. I'm going to continue to play Mario Kart with my friends when we're together. I'm going to continue to play... nothing else, actually. I don't play Splatoon.
Smash when it comes out.
But when Smash comes out, it's going to be together with people.
Yeah.
Super Mario Party, which is really fucking soon, I just realised.
I think it's early next month.
Yeah. It's like 5th of October.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Day, isn't it?
Fuck Assassin's Creed. Super Mario Party, motherfucker. Yeah, so there's... all the games that I want to play are local multiplayer as well. There was literally no reason for me to get this thing.
Have you any interest in the classic games?
No.
Any future classic games that could ever come to the service?
No.
Okay. Because for me...
Because I have an internet connection, so I can play those games any way I want.
True.
And if I really wanted to play some classic games, like and I wanted to play them in a traditional sense, I'd go buy a NES Classic or a SNES Classic. Because the games I want to play are on those systems. Yeah. So why would I do anything else?
Yeah, for me, it would have to be a bit... I think when we start getting to 64 and GameCube games, that'd be interesting.
If we get GameCube games on the... Okay, specifically, if they continue to do the same thing and the GameCube Virtual Console happens and it's part of the Nintendo Switch Online, and that thing launches with GameCube games, and one of those GameCube games is Star Fox Adventures, then I'll pay for it. Okay. But that's your timeline. If any of those things falls apart, no. Because it's literally the only game I want to play from like the GameCube library is Star Fox.
I want to play Wind Waker, but I want to play Wind Waker HD.
But that's on the Wii U, so who fucking cares?
I want the support of that.
They'll port it, maybe they'll
I
port
fucking hope so.
I hope they port it.
I want to collect it with Twilight Princess, and I just want that game. I just want to play more Zelda games.
But like the thing is, there are ways to play every other game that was on the GameCube, and like... which includes like, hey, there's a better PlayStation version of this or something like that.
Well, yeah,
like a lot of the Resident Evils and all that kind of stuff. But the thing with the GameCube game, like I guess there's two other games that I would consider if they decided to port over, and that would be Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness.
What about Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes?
I'd rather shoot myself in the face.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like that game.
I've never played Twin Snakes. I just heard it's a remake, and then I heard it's broken. I'm like, that's a shame.
No, it's not. Yeah, well, the thing is, if you're going to play the remasters of the Metal Gear Solid games, you play them on the PS3.
Yeah, but the PS3 games only have 2, 3, 4, and Metal Gear 2. Metal Gear Solid has only been remade in the Twin Snakes, and that's the only way you can play it.
No, but there's a Twin
Snakes never moved.
But there's a Metal Gear Solid you can
get the PlayStation Classic, yes.
Yeah, you can get the Metal Gear Solid on PS3.
And that's an ugly looking game, and it's
the original.
It's the third game in the series.
Oh, fuck off. But yeah, the rest of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. But it's the lineup's weird for it. It's like baseball, soccer. Games I didn't know that existed, but what the fuck? It's just weird.
It's weird, but again, like in terms of the Nintendo Switch Online service, it doesn't hit the boxes the other ones do. I don't give a flying fuck about it, and I will not use it until they give me a reason to use it. If they can find an online game I want to play, great.
I was gonna joke and say Fortnite, but apparently you don't even need the thing for it.
No, because that's the thing. They even half-assed that part of it, where they were like, "Yeah, you need."
To be fair, PS Plus does that as well. Not every game needs to be online for whatever reason. Like Final Fantasy 14, I think you just need. You don't need to pay online.
No, because you have to pay a subscription for that.
You don't have to pay a subscription for that.
Yeah, I know, but like, it's
a subscription-based game once you get to a certain point.
Exactly, because the thing is that Sony will make deals with that kind of stuff. But for Sony, I think the general thing is that if it's free to play, you don't need to pay them PS Plus to do it.
Yeah.
And when it comes to, but the thing is, they've half-assed it even more because like, what was the other game?
Three-quarter-assed it.
Like, Fortnite doesn't need it, and Dark Souls won't need it. And there's the save thing as well, where it's like, well, if the game has online connect, like it's this fucking weird thing where it's like you're paying for the service that gives you cloud saves and online connectivity. If the game has online connectivity, it can't use the cloud save feature. And if the game has the cloud save feature, it's not using the online connectivity. So what the fuck are you doing?
The biggest thing for me was Pokemon. I'm like, I'd want my Pokemon file backed up.
No, see, that one...
And then that one's like, oh, you can just like delete it and then clone Pokemon. Like, blah, blah, blah. One, people are going to do that anyway.
I mean, people figure out a way to do it anyway. But like, that one I get because Pokemon has a competitive scene that they want to try and
I don't think Let's Go is going to be competitive.
I think it will.
It will have a competitive scene. It's just not going to be as intense as the core games.
No, but it's the same thing. It's like, the thing that I always... The one that was like, I don't care. Let's Go, I don't care.
But like,
I don't need a cloud save for Let's Go.
I'd like for longer RPGs. I'd like to be able to back them up. Like Pokemon.
Yes, longer RPGs, absolutely. But for like Pokemon, you don't need to have the backup because they will eventually bring Pokemon Bank to the Switch. And if you need to save your Pokemon, you can save it to Pokemon Bank, and that's $5 a year instead of $30.
I feel Pokemon Bank should have been included in this service.
Nah, because that's game specific.
Yeah.
And it's Game Freak. Also, Game Freak's making a new game.
Yeah. Did I write it down?
No, you didn't.
No, Town. Working title.
Working title Town. That looks cool.
It looks interesting. I know nothing about it still. I saw it, I'm like, Art style's pretty Game Freak. I'm going to keep an eye on it.
Do you know the elevator pitch for it?
It's just the town, and monsters come to the town.
Yeah, it's an entire like JRPG that takes place in one town.
Yeah.
You don't go anywhere else. You're just in that town. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Totally. That's one of the things that JRPGs need is new takes on their formula because JRPGs are always the fucking same.
Yeah. For better and worse. For better and worse.
Exactly. And that's the reason I liked Octopath so much was that like, oh my god, it isn't a world-ending cataclysm.
Yeah.
It's just 8 dudettes chilling and having like it's
the
fun.
Ant-Man JRPG.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So yeah, that's cool. The Isabelle coming to Smash. Oh, that was so good. Luigi's Mansion 3 for Switch is whatever.
I already know. Like I've never played Luigi's Mansion. I'll probably give it a go.
It's
see
fine.
reviews.
Yeah, but Isabelle, the whole because I was watching that part live. And it was
so was I. Yeah.
So funny. It was me just going like. They are like all of this stuff about Animal Crossing, and I could feel it. I was like, they're just going to announce it for Smash. They're just going to announce it for Smash. That's absolutely what they're going to do. Boom, there it was on cue.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and announce Animal Crossing. There is an Animal Crossing game for the Switch. It's coming out next year.
Yep.
The same year as the next Pokemon RPG as well. Like, holy shit, next year's going to be good for the Switch. I thought this year was good for the Switch. I thought last year was good for the Switch.
So what it seems for the Switch, people have noticed a pattern, even though it's been 3 years. The first year, odd years so far seem to be first party games. That's when the first party games rock. Because we had Zelda and Mario first year and a couple like Mario Kart, stuff like that. The second year, not much is happening. Like it's all third party stuff, it's all just goodwill. And I think Nintendo's actually put out a game for it. Like themselves. I mean, like, no, they've published Octopath, but that's a Square thing. What were you gonna say?
But they're going to, like, by the end of the year, we will have had Super Mario Party and Smash.
Smash, yes, I'll give you. I didn't mean to say
Mario Party.
I don't know. I always see Mario Party games as like a second tier title sort of thing, but I've also never played them, so I don't have too much perspective on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really towards the end of the year though.
Mm-hmm.
And then next year we're getting Animal Crossing, Pokemon. I suppose we're getting Pokemon games this year too.
Yeah. The thing with Nintendo is that they have not slowed down. I don't think they've slowed down. They are constantly releasing stuff for that system.
Constantly releasing stuff, yeah. I think they're like big quality titles, like ones that can be a game of the year consideration, which they do put out. Like they had 2 of them last year. They constantly put them out each year. Every so often. Next year, an optimist will say Metroid Prime 4. An optimist might also say Metroid Prime Trilogy HD, which I think is possible.
Put your money where your mouth is and make it an E3 prediction. Go on.
I think I made one this year. But yeah, there's stuff like that.
No, I think next year the between the Pokemon and the Animal Crossing games, like already that next year's lineup looks fucking fantastic.
So many people are gonna buy it. Like people are already buying it for Pokemon.
For this year, yeah. Then next year, whew.
Well, my friend, my housemate, I'm like, she was like, should I buy one now? I'm like, no. It's like you're not gonna play any games for it. Wait till Pokemon comes out during like Boxing Day sales or whatever, or our 4-day clearance, which is our Black Friday sales. But because we don't have Thanksgiving here, it's just 4-day sales.
Yeah.
And then I knew Animal Crossing was coming, so I'm like, that's gonna happen. Just wait for it. And then she hasn't pulled the trigger on it yet. So, but that's.
I mean, like looking at it, like they're doing the Pokemon, the Pokemon Let's Go Switch Collector's Edition variant.
Yeah.
They're doing the Smash variant. There'll probably be an Animal Crossing one because there's about 12 Animal Crossing DSs. So why the fuck not? There'll probably be another version for Pokemon next year.
Yeah.
Like there'll be no shortage of ways to get that console, that game together, and whatever combination of things they want. I'm really looking forward because I've got the Let's Go Eevee on order with the Pokemon Go Plus. Really looking forward to seeing whether that thing's compatible with the next year's game as well.
We'll see.
Which I hope it is.
We will see.
But that was the end of their thingy.
One thing I do want to bring up is the board games, because this is interesting, because I have a bunch of friends that are super into board games, and I'm not into them, mainly because it's a setup and I don't know the rules. There are a couple games on here, like Catan. Have you ever played Catan?
Yes.
Catan's fun, but it is only 4-player. I didn't before I moved out. Pandemic is a fun game co-op because I
Yes.
fucking suck at it, but everyone I know is good, so we all get victories. I'm like, yay, I win! The thing that does suck is these are only 4-player because that's all the Switch can handle.
Yeah.
But whatever, like I don't know, it's interesting. That's just a limitation of the system, but cool. Board games are coming to it.
Yes,
like
and
Lord of the Rings card game
That takes cool use of the Switch as a system.
as a local co-op system.
Yeah.
Like I think it's a brilliant move.
It's fucking great. It's a great idea.
It would be good. I wish it could do land properly, like the old Xbox. Like because Mario Kart you can only do 2-player then 2-player. Like I wish you could max it out like 4-player and 4-player. Mario Kart can't do that.
No, but you can like. I mean, I've played Mario Kart with 3 Switches before.
Yeah, I think the Switch will get popular enough that everyone will have one and it'll be good. I just think like it'd be good to have like actual Xbox style LAN parties.
I think they've done it smartly because of the physical limitations of the size of that screen.
Yeah.
Like having 4 players on that screen would be a fucking nightmare.
That's why I'm like even okay with like docked 4-player. Like if they give you the option when it's in dock mode, but they have this weird thing where like everything needs to work in both. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and that's the weird part. So like I'm happy with them doing 2 on each because at the end of the day, like you get 2 controllers with each one. Like all you need is one other person, and suddenly you've got enough to work it out. Like you need one other person with a Switch. I mean it's fine. It's fine. Nintendo had a great direct, and I'm really happy about that.
Probably going to be 2 more in the rest of the year. Another one for Smash, and maybe another Pokemon one.
Probably another Pokemon.
And maybe like a 2019 preview or something. I feel like the Pokemon one's going to be attached to something. Like
no, they will probably do a Pokemon direct.
Yeah.
Probably next month. They usually
What's the bet that it's on Red Dead Day?
no, they won't be. Maybe.
That's why.
Well, honestly, if it's on Red Dead Day, I'll be watching that instead of playing Red Dead because I just couldn't give a fuck. But Nintendo or Pokemon Company tend to release a lot of information very close to the release of their game as well.
Yeah.
So you probably get some sort of big reveal. Like last year they revealed before Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I think it was the very last week before the game came out. They were like, "Hey, by the way, Red and Blue are in this game."
The what?
Yeah, the actual characters.
Do they do stuff or are they just in it?
No, they're in the post game.
Are they interesting? Does it develop?
No, they're in the battle tree.
Oh, that's all it is.
Yeah,
okay.
But basically you battle one of them, which depending on your game, which one you battle. And then after you beat them, you get access to the battle tree, and then they're in the battle tree. So if you beat the
battle tree like Battle Tower? Kind of,
yeah, like Battle Maison.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway,
that's interesting.
They released that, and I think that a couple of days later they did the other post game stuff. But like anyway, usually within the couple of weeks before a game, they'll release something big. Yeah. And be like, just to be everyone to go, oh shit.
Do you think this big one's going to be that Metan's going to be in it?
Meltan?
Meltan, yeah.
Nah, they'll probably do something. I think they'll do something probably more story focused. Like they'll drop a thing that you're like, oh shit, really? And then go from there. Like I think it'll actually be either Red or Blue being in that game.
Yeah. Now they're old man.
Yeah.
Old man Red, old man
Well, that was
Blue.
the thing. That was the thing about the Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
They were
Red
older?
and Blue. They were older. Oh. They were like they looked like they were like late
20s?
teens, early 20s.
Ah.
It was really cool. I was like, oh wow, they aged them and shit.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Did you want to talk about Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, it's just an interesting thing. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey Season Pass was detailed. It's very interesting because what they're doing, Assassin's Creed game's not coming out next year, and not a core game.
Yeah.
So what they've done, they're treating Assassin's Creed Odyssey like a game of service, which is interesting for a single player game.
Okay.
The only other game I can think of that has done that is Final Fantasy 15, and that is what that is. Whereas this, so they've outlined that going to be 2 arcs, and in that arc is going to be 3 episodes each. So every 6 weeks you'll get a new episode.
When does this start?
This starts, I think, 6 weeks after the game comes out.
Fuck off! So you're giving the people 6 weeks to finish the game.
I think that's doable. I don't know.
Yeah,
but then also the idea, like the idea of that, like, hey, it's the way you want to consume it. If you want to come out every 6 weeks with a new thing, that's fine. If you just want to binge it all when it's all done, that's good too. Like,
I was gonna say, what if I want to wait 2 years and get it in a bargain bin?
Yeah.
All at once then.
Yeah, but so the first arc is going to be Legacy of the First Blade, where it will introduce players to the first hero to wield the iconic hidden blade and changing the course of history. And everyone's like, wasn't that Bayek? But then, like, there's one line in Origins where it's like, this is the blade that killed Xerxes.
Mm-hmm.
And I get why people didn't take super notice to that one particular line.
Yeah.
And also, Aya had a hidden blade before him in that game, so
Yeah.
so yeah, that's interesting. And then the second one is Fate of Atlantis, which is apparently just going to be more First Civilization stuff. And so what people, the main criticism of this is like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is just a Spartan kicking game. If you want the actual story of the Assassin's Creed lore, give us more money and we'll give it to you. I'm like, that's a fair criticism,
Yes.
but they know those fans are going to pay more. I'm going to do that eventually, whatever my bank allows it. But I'm also interested to see a different company do a single-player games as a service. Because I always kind of like that idea. Like, hey, here's a game, we're going to keep updating it, and you'll get more content out of it.
Yeah. If they do it correctly. But the thing is,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see how it goes.
Getting Assassin's Creed 3 remastered as part of it's kind of a
Yeah.
Because they did that with Far Cry 5?
Yeah, you got Far Cry 3,
Yeah, you got Far Cry 3 as part of the season pass. So this is very much a Ubisoft thing to do.
Oh, yeah. Now it is. I think if you pre-order Watch Dogs 3 when it comes out next year, you'll get Watch Dogs 1 remastered.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you can't remaster that. Fuck. It already came out on this console generation.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know then. Splinter Cell. We'll get Splinter Cell. But I don't know. To me, buying the season pass and getting Assassin's Creed 3 kind of worth it. Like, I have my issues with 3, but it's still a fun game to play. And people are like, people are thinking is lore connected. Like, that's the reason they're doing it. I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, they tend to do that. They do tend to like link the assassins together.
Yeah.
In some sort of way of like, ooh, this is all related and all that kind of stuff. I think at this point I have come to the terms with the fact that Ubisoft doesn't give a fuck about that story, and neither should I.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna if this isn't the fact that they've talked about the present stuff pre-release for the first time probably since 1 or 2 means they might give an interest, but we'll see how that plays out. I think I've given up. I haven't given up. I've given up that everyone else has given up. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'm not like, oh my god, what next big thing are they going to do? I'm just interested to see where it goes. If it's going to be shit, is it going to be good? Am I going to have to read 9 files on the laptop?
Yes.
I'm just interested to see what that all plays out like.
You always have to read 90,000 files on a laptop.
Yes.
That's what fucking kills me about that game.
I know. But that's the thing. I'm just interested to see how it goes. There could be, whatever. The other thing is you get Assassin's Creed 3 Liberation with Assassin's Creed 3. I'm like, the cool Liberation... It's a good game. It's fine. It's the best portable game they've done, which isn't saying much.
No, that's a low
But
bar.
I did like the Altair one, not Altair Chronicles Bloodlines. That was for the PSP.
Yes.
Janky as fuck because it's a PSP game with only one analog stick. But the story in that is I give a fuck about Altair because it's about him finding his love and then doing other assassination stuff.
Right, yeah.
It's
what they did in Assassin's Creed. Which one was it?
Revelations.
They
made him.
They gave him a character.
Yeah,
it's good.
Revelations is my favorite Altair game.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes.
I've got too many problems with Revelation.
I liked Revelations.
There's too much tower defense and.
I was fine with that. It was different at the time, so yeah.
Oh well. And then they're also getting free content with it. So they've got the Lost Tales of Greece, which is just event quests basically. So we'll see how that works. I think in games as a service for single player games. Kind of an MMO style, I just realised. In terms of Division and all that are kind of modern day MMOs, but for me, I don't like MMOs. But single player MMOs like Guild Wars 2 kind of defeats the purpose of them. Yeah. But I am interested to see how that goes. Also, I love Assassin's Creed Origins, so more of that. Keep going. Like, I will probably burn myself out on it, but
Yes,
we might only get to the middle of 2019, and unless they do a second season, which they very much could, I'll probably be satiated for the next year until the next one comes out.
Yeah, we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's no Assassin's Creed game next year, then maybe next year is the year that I decide I'll go pick up Origins again and see if I can finish that goddamn game and then play Odyssey. But at this point in time, I'm just that game's gonna come out and I'm nonplussed either way. Because that's the day that Super Mario Party comes out, so I'm probably going to play that instead.
Fair enough. Have you pre-ordered to get those 9 extra free gold coins or
Fuck,
whatever?
No.
Every time I see it, I'm like, why is this the only game doing that? Like, I don't even know if they're like the coins you get at the shop or in-game coins or...
They're probably something that you could use to like purchase mini games in that game or something like that, but it's not worth it. But I think we've wrapped up a couple of weeks worth of news there.
Yeah.
Weeks worth of good
I
stuff.
can't think of anything else. Yeah, horse testicles, which we did cover.
What?
Horse testicles, which
Yes,
we
we
did
did
cover
cover,
briefly.
of
I don't know. Any other news? There's many other podcasts out there. Kind of Funny Games Daily is great. Giant Bobcast is great. And Beastcast. I don't know. There's actual news people.
There's actual news people too.
And then there's actual news people.
Yeah.
As in like, oh, Syria's fucking shit again.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. A little bit echoey this week. Hopefully we can get better as weeks go on, as we deck out this place in a new baffling and rug, and or maybe next week we'll actually be filming too.
If we have a battery.
Oh yeah, the battery. Yeah, well, we'll get on with that. Anyway, check out the rest of our videos that we have on the channel, just in general. Just check it all out. Check
Pizza
it all
Time.
out. Check out
So
Pizza
15
Time.
episode season.
Fucking Pizza Time. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Amalgam Show. Check out Amalgam Archaeology if you have the cash, if you have the dosh. It is only $1 a month. And if you have any questions, please comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed it, hit the like and subscribe. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.